Yo. Yo. It begins where silence has been stored for decades, not in loud buildings or public archives, but in sealed corridors of information, buried beneath layers of security protocols and forgotten classifications. Rooms filled with servers that never appear on maps, containing documents written by people who believed their words would never reach the public eye. They call them the Black Files, records of decisions made long before the public ever heard about the consequences. Draft agreements, strategic briefings, private correspondences between powerful institutions, shaping the direction of entire nations without ever stepping in front of a camera. Most people never imagine such archives exist, but power always keeps records somewhere deep in the architecture of the global network. Those records sit quietly, protected by encryption systems designed to last generations. Governments change, leaders rise and fall, but the files remain sealed. Silent witnesses to the machinery behind history, until one night the silence breaks. Across the dark surface of the digital grid, a single connection opens, threading its way through forgotten pathways of code and outdated security layers that no one bothered updating, because no one believed anyone would ever find them. Inside the system, the folders appear like lock vaults, each one labeled with sterile bureaucratic language, strategic outlooks, crisis projections, population management reports. At first glance they read like ordinary policy papers, the kind analysts draft every day, but deeper inside the folders the tone changes. Private communications reveal strategies discussed far away from public debate. Economic forecasts predicting turmoil months before markets collapse. Media briefing outlines explaining how narrative should be framed to guide public reaction during sensitive political moments. The documents show something uncomfortable. History often arrives pre-written. Events that appear spontaneous sometimes follow blueprints drafted quietly behind closed doors. Leaders speak about reacting to crisis, but the files reveal conversation about shaping those crises long before anyone outside the room even knows they exist. Once the truth becomes visible, the mission becomes unavoidable. The Black Files cannot remain buried. Encryption begins shifting the archives outward through independent channels. Secure mirrors appearing across decentralized networks where no single authority can erase the evidence completely. The data moves like underground currents beneath the surface web. At first only a few observers notice. Reservers, journalists outside the corporate ecosystem, digital communities that spend their nights tracking anomalies in global information flow. They open the files expecting fragments, instead they find patterns. Repeated names across financial structures and policy briefings. The same institutions appearing in conversations about economic reform, international conflict, media coordination, connections that were never visible when each story appeared separately in the news. Now the stories converge. The reaction from official channels arrives quickly. Statements questioning the authenticity of the documents. Analysts appearing on palm cannons insisting the material must be manipulated or misunderstood. But the files contain too many details to dismiss. Dates align with real events. Private projections match crises that later unfolded exactly as predicted. Internal language reveals how carefully public perception was considered before certain announcements were made. The narrative's control begins to fracture, because once people read the Black Files themselves, the distance between official explanation and internal planning becomes impossible to ignore. Citizens start comparing what they were told with what the documents describe, and the questions grow louder. Who decides the direction of history before the public ever hears the plan? Why were these discussions hidden for so long? How many other archives remain sealed beyond the reach of ordinary citizens? The answers remain scattered across thousands of pages, now circulating freely across the network. The Black Files no longer belong to the institutions that created them. They belong to the people reading them, and once knowledge escapes into the open, no system built on secrecy can never fully restore the silence it once relied on.